Hello, this is June Mary here, helping people to be healthy so they can enjoy a long life too. I hope you've all had a day, and can I ask you to put a 1 in the comments, please, if it's the first time you've seen me live. Okay, I was thinking today, what can I talk about tonight? And when I got home at tea time, the answer came to me because it's my exercise day today, one of them anyway, and I'd been doing Tai Chi and yoga. And when I got home, I was tired out and really could do with a nap, but I didn't have time. Hi, Angela. Hi, Claire. I'm sure, does this sound familiar to anybody? Do you get home from somewhere and find that you just don't have time because the kids want their tea, or hubby's coming home, he wants his? Something is always happening anyway. Well, I have a tip. So I carried out and did what I'd done, what I knew to do, and I perked up. So, hi Laura. Hi Angela, another Angela. How did I find out about this tip anyway? Well, whenever Philip Day is having a meeting up here in Yorkshire, I go. And at one of the meetings, he was telling us this story about a lady who had contacted him just a little while ago because she'd attended one of his meetings earlier and heard him talk about a particular subject. And this lady had, she ran a care home. And the residents were sitting in the chairs and they were listless, lethargic, they were miserable, they didn't know what to do with themselves, no energy. And she thought, right, I'll see what I can do about this. So she had a little meeting and instigated a club. Quite a number of them decided they'd join. A lot of them said, no, can't be bothered. Anyway, within a few days, these old people weren't sitting lounging around in their chairs anymore, miserable. They were actually up, off and out. They were in the garden, helping the gardeners, because people my generation like gardening. I mean, if you know me, you know that I quite often post videos about my garden. So they were actually doing something, hobbies that they'd always had. Some of them were out playing bowls, others were just walking around, you know, but they were enjoying life again. And pretty soon, practically everybody else in the care home joined this club. So there's a lot of things, actually, not just feeling lethargic and what have you, that are caused by this same particular, well, cause. And like Blue Peter, I've made a list earlier and organised it. So I'm going to read this and see if any of these sound familiar to you. Of course, being tired, lethargic and sleepy. If you have high blood pressure with a rapid heartbeat, a headache or dizziness. If you've got constipation and bad breath. If you've got pain in your muscles or in your chest or your abdomen. If you've got a fever and there's no infection. If you're always hungry with a dry mouth, few or no tears. Your urine is yellow or dark, not a lot of it, and you don't go very often either. If you've got dry skin, and if you pinch here or here and it doesn't spring back, then these are all signs that you've got a problem. So, what kind of club was it that this lady had set up? And what was the problem? Well, the club was a water club. These people were dehydrated. And so they'd started drinking between 1.5 and 2 litres of water a day. And this listlessness, this tiredness went away. So did quite a number of other aches and pains because your joints get dried up. And this is how they could go out there and actually do the work in the garden, and they could walk around and go and do the bowls because they were a lot looser. So, what Philip had been telling us about was a man called Dr. Batmanghelidj, and he was a Persian, and I say Persian because up till 1979 it was Persia. It had been Persia for 3,000 years. And then the French released Ayatollah Khomeini from prison. He went over there and the revolution happened. And what happens when you get tyrants there? You get rid of all the intelligentsia, because people who are educated and who can think, who are clever, they're dangerous. So he was a doctor. He'd been trained here in the UK, and he was one of those who was rounded up. And it was like an open prison. And they were pulled out every now and again, a few of them, summarily tried, dead. And he did what he could do. The only thing he had was water. And one day he'd been walking through the prison and he'd heard this man in agony, not just moaning and groaning, he was screaming with pain. So what he did, like any other human being, we give him a drink of water. So he did that and had a few words, then went on his way. When he came back a few hours later, back past the same place, this man he wasn't crying anymore, he wasn't upset. And the magnificent thing about it was, he wasn't in pain anymore. So Dr. Pat Mangele decided he would treat everybody with water and see what happened. And being a clever man, wanted to save his own life, he kept records. So when he was dragged up in front of the judge, what he did was presented him with all this evidence. And the judge decided, and he said, of course, Iran would be, world famous with all this new research and health and whatnot. It would be really good propaganda for the new country, new regime. So it was, his sentence was commuted. He was out in 1982. What happened was, as soon as he was free, he sort of escaped and came back here. And he had collaborated with Philip Day. This is his actual book that he wrote. There we are. Your Body's Many Cries for Water. There's his name, Pat Mangele. And he died, actually. So there's another book, I can't remember what it was and I can't find it. Philip Day actually wrote it, but he wrote it using Dr. Pat Mangele's notes, etc., which they had discussed. So that's how Philip knew about it, and that's what he'd been talking about when this lady had heard him talk about water, and she'd gone off and set up this water club. So we all need 1.5 to 2 litres of water a day, and it has to be pure water. Your tea doesn't count, your coffee doesn't count. Your Coca-Cola certainly doesn't count. Those fizzy drinks, they dehydrate you, get rid of the phosphorus out your bones, dangerous stuff. So anyway, I've got lots of people commenting. Wow, Samantha, Jenny, Jane Stewart, Crystal, hi. Right, yes, Laura Elizabeth, that's lovely. So nice to have people on. I hope you've found good value with this. So if you'd like to do something to help me and to help other people, if you found it was interesting and useful, then would you share it? Because there's a lot of people out there that have all these problems. I'm not saying it's the only cause, but it is one of the causes. The lack of water, dehydration, does cause all these problems. So the first aid tip is to go for the water. You're not wasting it anyway, because it does you good anyway for lots of other things. So first aid, you go for that. If that doesn't actually sort that problem out, then you take it further and go. But if it can be sorted out by simply upping your intake of water, I think that's good. Okay, so if you'll help other people by sharing, that would be really nice. Right, I hope you have a good evening. I'm now going to get something to eat because I've been too nervous to eat. Okay, thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye.